So the very first thing we do is after you write this down, we got to remind yourself what shape does sine make. And sine makes one of two options. It is either hill followed by a valley, or it's valley followed by hill. And we can determine what it's going to be based on the number out front. If that number is negative, it's going to go down first. So this is going to be valley and then hill. This is going to be the shape it makes. How low does it go and how high does it go is the absolute value of this value. So it's going to go down 2 and up as far as 2. Now the first thing we're going to figure out is what is the length of one cycle, which is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to know what is this number. To do that, I always take 2 pi and I'm going to divide by exactly what is stuck with the x, which is a 1/3 pi. Now the pi on top and the pi on the bottom are eliminated. They simplify into 1. I'm going to grab my calculator and I'm going to take 2 and divide it by 1/3. Notice the 1/3 goes in parentheses. This is the length of one cycle, or 4 steps. So 4 steps is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4 is 6. At another 4 steps, I double that. This will go to 12 and this will go to -6. Now we need to do the x scale. Who remembers what do we divide by the x scale? We take 6 in this case and divide by what number? 4, because there's always 4 steps. So I'm going to take this and be the very first one. 6 divided by 4, I get 1.5. I turn it back into a fraction. So this is 3/2. Now this is step 2. So I'm going to take the x scale. This is step 2. And I'm going to take it times the x scale of 3/2. And this is 3. This is step 3 times the x scale of 3/2. And if I get a decimal, I turn it back into a fraction. I don't need to do the 4th. I already know what it is. The 5th times the x scale, and again, if I get a decimal, I just turn it back into a fraction. By the way, notice I goes 3, skip 6, skip, add another 9, and I'm just going to keep going here. This is step number 7 times 3/2, and turning it back into a fraction. Now, how do I get the next 4 to the left? Does anybody remember? You just copy and paste them over with the negative. Now, this shape is going to go down and then up. So down a total of 2. Why is it 2? This is the value. Why do we go down first? Because it's negative. So it starts here, it goes down 2, back, it goes up 2, and then I end that 4 steps. So it's, here we go, 0, 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, and 4. And then I just keep it going. So there's like a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the other way. Okay, that was pretty ugly done, but you guys get the idea of it. Now let's look at example number 2. Okay, so let's make the prediction. Is it a hill valley or a valley hill? And if you're reading those and you're like, I don't understand what you're saying, either it's going to go up and then down, or it's going to go down and then up. And it's all determined by the sign here. Since this is positive, it goes up first, and how high does it go? It goes up 3, and then it comes back and goes down 3. So I'm making that prediction. We're going to start by first predicting what is the length of the period. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So after I do one cycle, how far horizontally is it? I always take 2 pi and I divide by whatever is stuck with the x. It's not a 4 stuck with the x, it's a 1/4. So I'm going to divide by 1/4. So I'm going to omit the pi symbol and go 2 divided by 1/4. Get an answer, okay, get an answer of 8, and then I put the pi symbol back on. Now in the last problem, notice that we did not put the pi symbol back on because we were able to eliminate the pi's. They simplified to 1s because there was a pi up here. And this example, there is no pi. That's why 8 pi, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is after 4 steps, we're at 8 pi. Now the x scale, we always divide by 4 because there's 4 steps to each one of these trig functions. So 8 divided by 4 is 2. So 2 pi, add another 2 pi. 4 pi, 6 pi, 8 pi, 10 pi, 12, 14, and 16. Okay, we're going to go up as high as 3. 1, 2, 3, and down as low as -3. So I'm starting here. For sine, I'm starting and I'm going to go hill first, all the way up, and then back down. So step 1, 2, 3, 4, and we repeat again. Step 1, 2, 3, and 4. and keep it going. There's step 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are 2 examples of sine. We're going to do cosine next. So example number 3 is cosine. We're going to write this down. So with cosine, I'm going to abbreviate. Instead of just saying hill, valley, or valley, hill, it is either hill, valley, hill, or it's just the opposite. I'm going to abbreviate valley, hill, valley. So it either starts low, goes high, and then goes low again. That'd be valley, hill, valley, or begins high, goes low, and then comes back up high. Exact same thing we did for our previous 2 examples, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's figure out what is the length of this period. So I always take 2 pi and divide by directly what is in front of the x, or stuck with the x. That's a pi symbol. The pi symbols eliminate, and that means that the period is 2. So after 4 steps, the length horizontally is 2. Each x scale, we're always going to take that period length and divide by 4. When you reduce this, you get 0.5, which is equivalent to 1/2. So each one of these is 1/2. Now, how can you use your calculator to achieve the other steps? This is step 2. Take it times 1/2. This is step 3. Take it times 1/2. Oh, it's a decimal. We know step 4. Here's step 5. Turn it back. Here's step 6. And you guys get the point. Okay, so I've got everything numbered. Remember, there's no pi because the pi's were simplified or eliminated. I've done the x scales to achieve all the steps. Now, 1/2. I'm going to let this, it goes up as high as 1/2 and as low as -1/2. Because this number is positive, we start high first. So it's going to start right up here. Cosine does not start at 0. So it's going to start here, and it's going to go step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4. And we go again. Step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4. And the other way. Goes down as low as -1/2, and up and high as +1/2. Sometimes students say, I don't know where to start. So because it's cosine, it's either going to be hill, valley, hill, or valley, hill, valley. Either starts high, goes low and back high, or low, high, low. How do we determine? We determine by the front number. If it's positive, it's going to start high. How high? Starts as high as 3. It goes as low in the valley as -3. Let's figure out after 4 steps what is the period. So I take 2 pi and always divide by what is directly in front of the x, which is a 4 pi. The pi's nicely are eliminated or simplified to 1, and the mistake students make is they think 2 divided by 4 is 2. 2 divided by 4 is not 2. It is 0.5 or 1/2. So right here we're at 1/2. That is the period length. There's no pi. The pi's have been eliminated. Now I'm going to take the 1/2 and I'm going to divide by 4 because there's 4 steps to each cycle. So 1/2 divided by 4, I turn it back into a fraction and I end up with 1/8. How can I use the calculator to not become frustrated with all the fractions and achieve the other steps? This is step 2. If I get a decimal, I'm just going to turn it back into a fraction. Okay, got a decimal, there's my fraction. This is step 3. Take it times the x scale, it's a decimal, turn it back into a fraction. This is step 4. Step 5, step 6, step 7, and step 8. And once I have been able to label those, now it's just a matter of recognizing that this is going to start high. So cosine is going to go, in this case, hill, touch down, valley, and back up to hill. So this is going to be one cycle, and now repeat, hill, valley, hill. And the other way. Let's see.
calculating this, what did you put on your calculator to get the other one?